Lastly, general project documentation. The government wants to know that the work that's been done on their project has been done in the time period that it's been claimed, and wants to see some evidence of the work done. So this evidence can come in various different forms. The important thing is the documentation needs to be contemporaneous, which means that there needs to be a timestamp associated with it. So information documentation could comprise the form of reports, notebooks, a daily journal. In fact, I would highly recommend, as a contractor with a company doing a strike claim, keeping a daily journal. What are the key things that you identified as your technical challenges, for example? And date those entries. Flowcharts, drawings, wireframe models, meeting minutes, project plans are all eligible documentation that can be kept. Photographs, videos, emails, etc. Notes describing the outcome of your experiments. What did you test? What were the results of that? And hopefully most of you are subscribed to the element of doing revision control of your software. I would highly encourage that. Keep comments in the software. What were the changes between the various revisions? And don't discard the revisions that didn't work before you have a successful SR&ED claim. Okay, so sometimes companies will want to clear off space of their systems. Don't erase that software until you successfully got the money back for a strike claim, because all of that code revision history is eligible evidence for the government. So some questions. Questions that you will want to ask yourself as you go through the development process are things that you may want to jot down in those daily journals. So for example, what type of limitations or constraints are imposed on you as you utilize a lot of these technologies? What challenges do those constraints impose upon you? Can you quantify the existing state of the art, both internally in your company and in industry overall? And what did you do to find out what that state of the art is? What did you search? Can you keep a record of that search? We talked a little bit about system uncertainty. Is the performance, once you integrate software packages together, fully deterministic? Can you predict what the outcome is going to be when you integrate all of those? And if you can't, why not? Document it. What's technically difficult to do, and why is it difficult for you to do it? What different alternatives did you look at and explore? And if you did some testing, what were the results of the test? Did it pass? Did it fail? And why? What are the different outcomes other than the results that you were expecting? And can you provide some examples of the experimentation that you did? So what I'm suggesting in this, I know this sounds like a lot of information, and this is not meant to be an onerous process where you're writing pages and pages of notes. And I really do want to emphasize that here, because I know this is probably how this seems. This can be as simple as a daily entry in a journal with 2 or 3 lines to say, here's what I did today, here were the challenges that I had, and here were the results, and how I tried to solve those problems. That's really all that we're looking for. I'm trying to give you different types of examples that may apply in different circumstances. Now, there are some number of different methods to be able to maximize your claim. And as a consultant to an organization, you can help an organization be able to maximize their claim by knowing some of these. Now, some of these are going to be applicable really to company owners, others to groups and employees working for the company. Number 1, primarily for owners, is think about your compensation structure in your company. Okay? As an owner, bonuses, dividends, and stock options are not eligible payment methods to claim for SR&ED. Salaried labor, so T4 forms, are what's going to be eligible to claim for this. So in many cases, an owner of a company, for personal tax reasons, may elect to pay themselves a very low salary and pay themselves a dividend every year. And that may be the right thing for them to do from a personal tax perspective. But when you look at this holistically from a SR&ED perspective, it may make sense to pay yourself, especially if you're doing a lot of the development work and you're an owner of a company, to pay yourself the largest salary, and then you claim that 68.5% of that salary. The benefit of that may actually exceed the benefits that you get as a dividend. So it's something to have as more of a holistic discussion with your personal accountant or your consultant to figure out which is the best way to be able to maximize your after-tax earnings. Number 2, consider your organization structure. We talked about on that slide some of the refund rates are different between employees and contractors, 68.5% versus 41.5% for a private corporation. So in many cases, it may be more effective to hire people on as a full-time employee rather than as a contractor. It has a different effect for a company in terms of being able to claim that. Capital equipment. is sometimes eligible to be able to claim as long as it's used primarily for research and development purposes. Companies may find some great deals on used equipment, but unfortunately used equipment is not eligible to claim for SR&ED, only new equipment. So the benefit of the savings that you achieve by buying something used may be overshadowed by the fact that if buying new, you could actually claim it at 41% or so. Okay, so it's something to consider. And lastly, and probably most importantly, this is really the impetus of the program, is work that's done outside of Canada, either by non-resident employees or non-resident contractors, is not eligible. So this is the premise of the program. They want to be able to keep the innovation and work done within Canada. So there may be times when a company considers outsourcing to a lower cost geography some of the contracting work for design. Well, in this particular case, by being able to claim contractor costs within Canada or employee costs within Canada at 41 or 68%, it may actually be cheaper to keep that work within Canada than outsourcing. So that's something that, again, maybe you want to share with some of your employers when they consider how some of that work is allocated, because you can definitely bring some benefits here. Now, one of the other items, and again, please take what I'm going to say here with a bit of grain of salt, because I'm obviously a little bit biased, but there can be some benefits to help maximize your claim by utilizing an external consultant as well to help you with this. So number one, a consultant can often save a lot of the time of a technical team. As an IT contractor, quite often, I know from first-hand experience, one of the last things you like to do is keep documentation and things like that. A consultant can help by being able to extract some of the relevant eligible activities and be able to put that in a readable form. So generally, for a small claim, only 4 to 8 hours of the company's time are necessary to be able to put together a successful claim if you know the right questions to be able to ask. So a consultant really understands the eligibility criteria and can find opportunities that are quite often overlooked. They prepare a report in a format and terminology that the Canada Revenue Agency requires, have experience in dealing with audits should one occur. They can help coach and provide assistance to a company to prepare for an audit. And lastly, can help with some of the pre-eligibility analysis. Quite often, one of the biggest challenges of this program is, especially in software, is the work that I'm doing eligible? Is this project eligible? And a consultant may be able to ask questions of you and be able to quickly ascertain whether the work that you're doing is indeed eligible. Now, that said, many companies successfully file SR&ED internally and will do this on their own, either with internal contractors or the internal staff. But if you do elect to use a consultant, I would highly suggest that you look at certain criteria. Number one, look at the credentials of the staff that are doing the claim. Make sure that you've got a professional who's experienced in the field of computer science. Make sure that they're a technical specialist and not a generalist. This person doesn't also do claims for chemical companies and electrical companies, etc. That this person is a dedicated computer scientist person that has experience in your industry. Make sure that the consultant will provide review support if there is an audit, you're not left on your own. That they carry errors and omissions insurance. And lastly, probably most importantly, ask for references. Any good consultant worth their salt will be able to give you a page full of references, and I would encourage you to call those references and make sure that the work that's been done for clients they've been very satisfied with. So that brings to a close our presentation. I hope this was of value to at least give you some insight into how the program works and the value of it. I guess at this point I'd like to open up the floor for some questions.